Before I start my story, my wife hates when I do this. VJ gave you a choice of, do you narc out this woman you don't know, or do you do nothing? And there was a third choice, because when I was 25, I'd have motherfucking dated Roxy. And also, if you get a chance to smell McCardle, that is a, he would come in for a little man hug, and I'm like, screw that dude, bring it in. That's a fine smelling young man. I was screaming inside my head. Brian, don't move. Brian, don't move. Brian, keep your head down. The cops will not get out of their car. They will not get out of their car. If you keep your head down, that spotlight will cross right over you. I know you're out in the middle of the field, but if you don't move, they won't see you. It's like with quail. When you're hunting quail, the quail hunker down. The quail don't move. They hold stock still. And the hunters get closer, and they get closer. And eventually, one quail gets too nervous and he flies. That's the motherfucker who gets shot. The other quail are smart and they stay down. So stay the fuck down, Brian. That was my inner monologue as I hid under a park bench. Brian and I had started hanging out with a new group of kids, the super cool kids in Mendocino. They stole bicycles. They smoked a lot of pot, and they hung out with girls at the river, and we wanted to hang out with them badly. And they dared me to throw a Coke bottle at a passing cop car, and I did. The Coke bottle smashed across the windshield, and all the other kids scattered, except for Brian and I, who just hid. It's about 11:30 at night. Spotlight spreading back and forth. Brian, stay down. Jesus, stay down. Dude, they will fucking, if you move, they will find you. They won't get out of the car. We won't get caught. If you just stay down. Wait, did you hear a car door? I heard a car door from the other side of the park. Brian, did you hear that? Shit, there's a flashlight. There's somebody coming. He's coming right at us. You keep your head down. You're out in the open. I'm under the bench. They won't see me. I'll look. Oh, shit, the guy saw me. That's when I hopped up and started running. I ran around a swing set. I ran through the kiddie park, and I could see this light following me, kind of bouncing along, and I could hear like that thing where kind of a chubby guy with a belt and keys and shit on it, and he's yelling, "Stop, kid, stop, you stop." And I saw the fence, and I knew if I made the chain link fence, there's no way that cop would get me. We'd been practicing kind of our own version of parkour. And I could run at a chain link fence, full speed, leap, plant my foot, and then let the bar hit me right in the hip, and I would flip over, land on the other side, still running. I had never practiced this in the dark, or actually being chased by a cop. So when I hit the fence, I hit it way too fast, way too high, and I over-rotated. Landed flat on my face. And I could hear the cop go, "Holy shit!" But I hopped up, scurried right into the poison oak. Down into the creek, through the blackberries. Running in the creek, no light bouncing behind me. I'm free. I look around, I realize, I don't know if Brian's been caught or not. So I head through the creek, cut through the orchard, and come back up to our block. I pass by Brian's house, and there's a light on. Brian must have beat me home. They probably didn't see him. He got to leave the park easy. I bet he thinks I got caught. Another half a block is my folks' house behind a row of trees. As I turn the corner into the driveway, the cop car is right there. Officer Richard Van Wy has handcuffs in his hand, handcuffs me, puts me in the squad car and says, "We'll call your folks from the station." Then he says, "Who's the other kid?" And I realized they didn't catch Brian. And I said, "Holden Caulfield, the new kid." And I watched that guy write down, Holden Caulfield. Is that C-A-U-L? At the police station, they put me, a 14-year-old, in the drunk tank because it's Mendocino County and they only got a couple of cells. And he says, "I'm going to call your parents. I'll be right back." An hour goes by. He comes back in and he says, "Your dad hung up on me twice. And the last time he said, keep him." We don't have a judge any longer on a Friday night. I can't release you. I can't take you to juvenile hall. You have to stay here the whole weekend. Like, they can't come and get you tomorrow. That's it. You're here. And you're going to see all kinds of crazy shit. Maybe you'll learn a lesson. 10 minutes go by and the first DUI is brought in. And when I say brought in, I mean 2 guys carrying him in. And even at 14, I'm going, how the fuck was that guy driving? Which the answer is he wasn't, right? He probably crashed. They put him on this metal bench. Each cell has a metal bench and a metal toilet, concrete floor with a drain, and cinder block walls. And they put this guy on the bench, and he promptly rolls off onto the floor and pees himself. And I can see it like heading towards the drain. Kind of yellow, kind of beer pee, you know? And he starts snoring immediately. And the snoring makes this sound. And with all that metal and concrete, it echoes. It echoes a lot like this room. And I'm sitting there, and I go, whoop, 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 whoop. And then I hear keys, and they bring the next drunk in. It's my high school basketball coach. I am elated beyond belief because he cut me from the team 2 weeks ago because he said I was too short and didn't have an outside shot. It was because I mouthed off. I knew why. And I thought, what started out to be a really shitty night just turned into the greatest day of my life. I was thinking about how I was going to tell everybody at school, and I was so happy. And the echo was there, and it just rose up in me. Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly. And I didn't have a deep voice at 14 because I was 4'9". But it was radiating. And then it was, all right. I would not be just nothing, my head all full of stuffing, my heart all full of pain. I sang every song from The Wizard of Oz. And when I just finished with the final yellow brick road, this voice comes from my basketball coach, who is still lying on the bench. And he goes, "You know any other musicals?" When you're a jet all the way, from your first cigarette to your last dying day. And right out of his mouth, "You're a family man." He starts singing along with me. We sang America. I Want to Live in America. He sang the Rita Moreno part. I want to live in America. And I'm all, everything's free in America. As I am just getting into my full-on Maria, I just met a girl named Maria. Officer Richard Van Wy, who, by the way, has a belt buckle that says Dick. He comes in and he goes, "What the fuck is wrong with you? You are not supposed to like jail." And he stares right at me and he goes, "That dude is drunk and has an excuse. Do you want to be here?" I didn't move. I thought it was rhetorical. "No, kid, do you want to be here?" And I said, "No." And he goes, "Well, you fucking fooled me. Because A, we know where you live. We know every idiot in this town. It's too small. The second you popped up in the park, I knew who you were. I know your mother. You get in trouble every 2 weeks. You are choosing to get in trouble." And he walked out. My basketball coach now is sitting up with his head in his hands because he is sobered up and realized I know who he is. And he starts sobbing. And I am thinking to myself, there are some words of wisdom there. And I want to tell you that idea that he put out there, that I was choosing self-destructive things for myself, really hit home. But that would be a lie. Because what I heard that officer say was, if you're smarter, you won't get caught. And I also heard him say, we know where you live. And I realized I knew where he lived. So 2 weeks later, I egged his house. And I didn't get caught. Thank you.
Give it up one more time for JP.
All right, that's it. That's the show. So you may have seen a cameraman snapping some pics. We'll try and put those up. The photographer, his name is Tyler. He's also in the program with me. So just thanks to Tyler for coming and shooting on a whim tonight. I appreciate that. And that's right. To Morgan, our videographer that comes every single time. He is working 2 jobs right now to pay for a trip to drive through South America. He has a van that he put together himself, and he's taking 8 months to drive through the continent of South America. So when he gets back, we're getting him off the camera and onto the stage. So thanks to him. After party.
Oh, no, you got it. We have an after party at C-Star. That's what McCardle just whispered in my ear. Thank you. That's our show. Thanks for coming.